Hi guys and welcome back to the South Korean ladder. As I found once again a very interesting game in between the two pro players. We do have spawning here at the 11 o'clock position. It is Flash from the C9 clan, so very interesting clan here for him with a very high APM, actually 600 APM for him, taking this game quite seriously. And his opponent here from the Vico clan who is spawning at the 6 o'clock. It is Disco. So yeah, very nice name here for the Protoss. So Terran versus Protoss, a very long replay as you can see from the timer, almost 30-minute mark, as I believe they do spawn here on a 3 spawning location map. And yeah, production tab is up. There is the build order here from the Protoss with a pylon. I believe he's going to try a sort of a wall off here as Flash is entering the game with a supply depot, and very likely is going to continue with a barracks. So yeah, very interesting and long replay, like I told you. Should this be once again factories versus, so mech versus the Protoss, or are we going to be seeing some out of the ordinary gameplay here by the Protoss? Of course, arbiters could be an option for him. Carriers could also be very nice into the late game. Either that, or is it going to be mass gateway units for him versus what is pretty sure to be for the Terran, a factory build order with mechanical units like the tanks and Goliaths. Battle cruisers could also be a very nice, interesting idea. It would be very cool to see Flash go into battle cruisers, as a very good scouting here from the Protoss that is reaching here the main from Flash, and he actually does find now the probe. So with that, I believe Flash might think that it is going to be the right part, the location here from the Protoss, but yeah, the Protoss of course being very annoying, actually denying the scouting here from Flash, as the gas has started here to be mined for Flash. So the Protoss knows this, he thinks, he understands now finally that this is going to be indeed a fast factory build order here for Flash as soon as the barrack is getting finished. And yeah, with that, this should be another supply depot. Flash might even be lucky and try to he will try to just not allow the probe to get out of his main with this build order. But yeah, with the Marine now being out, this of course is going to be fended off as the scouting continues now for Flash. Like I told you, he's going for the right part of the map. His first Zealot is also moving out here for the Protoss. No intentions yet for him to go for the expansion. Actually goes for a fast cybernetics core. And yeah, there's a scouting here for Flash, but he will immediately change the route. 2 Marines are out, of course. They need to be microed in between the 2 buildings from the Terran. So I believe Flash should be fine. Some SCVs might have to be pulled here, as this one Marine a little bit stuck here and is being actually taken out. Even the SCV now going to be taking some damage. Second SCV is also out. Now finally the probe is getting taken out, but the Zealot is still pretty much alive. 2 SCVs are pretty much hurt, so very good micro here actually for the both players. This one SCV almost getting taken out here. Actually the Zealot finally takes it out, but with that the Zealot is going to be also killed here. So pretty good harassment early on by the Protoss, as the factory now just started those vultures, and the vultures are actually pretty good versus the Zealots. There comes the SCV, he's trying to be as annoying as much as he can, and he sees the upgrade for the Dragoons. Still no expansion here for the Protoss. The SCV could of course block it with a engineering bay. It could be an option here for Flash, as Flash is now preparing some defenses at home. But yeah, there is the expansion going to start very soon here for the Protoss. The same can be said here for Flash. He has enough minerals. So yes, indeed, he's also going for an expansion, as one Dragoon almost tries to slip here forward, but the bunker does finish in time. So with that, we will very likely turn into a more defensive gameplay here by both players. Both players will very likely try to focus on their macro game. Some probes will be snapped. A good block here by Disco with his Dragoon, and the Vulture is still being left alive. Takes another probe out. So 2 probes, even 3 are getting killed here. Very good harassment early on by Flash with his Vulture there. Very good stuff by him as the game continues, and still the scouting SCV is pretty much alive, but no, he's getting just killed. So yeah, a very good reaction here by the Protoss as we slowly but steadily turn towards the 5-minute mark. So yeah, very interesting and intense start of the game. Very nice harassment by both players. Flash perhaps with a smaller advantage being able to snipe 3 probes into the early game, and even now he's being able to slip here forward with only 1 vulture. He did take some damage, and there's another dragoon ready to intercept the vulture with the mines. Of course, the Protoss has no observer yet, so it's going to be kept at bay with those mines on the ground. Good reaction here by the Protoss, taking out the vulture, and yeah, the entrance pretty much nicely getting blocked here by Flash with his mines. Let's check his main. Another factory is getting built. Speed for the vulture is getting upgraded here for Flash, as we also see a robotics facility bay here for the Protoss with a gateway for him, so no support bay, no Reaver gameplay yet here for the Protoss as the game continues. And I believe as soon as the speed is going to be finished for the vultures, Flash is very likely going to try to be even more aggressive. He's going to try to drive by here and attack the economy from the opponent. He might even be lucky now. There's the observatory. Just scouting is happening here for the Protoss. Flash also with a good map awareness here, good map control with those vultures, planting of course as many mines as possible, trying to keep the Protoss at bay at home. And let's have a look at what other building he's going for. Some upgrades for his mech units. I believe very soon indeed the tank production has started here for him. And yeah, the Protoss is pretty much busy now clearing the way, as he has 2 gateways at home and perhaps saving some minerals for the robotic support bay. Some probes on either side here for him. Good APM now, finally he takes care of that. But a little bit of mining time has been lost. The observer gives good information. He sees all of those vultures. Knows that of course Flash is going to try to buy as much time as he can for his economy. And of course some turrets are getting placed. Of course Flash is thinking about a drop that could happen from the Protoss with a shuttle gameplay. Even some Dark Templars could be a possibility here for the Protoss. But yeah, no such thing here for him, as he's actually turned into also a very defensive gameplay, and more islands are getting planted here by him. So both players right now focusing onto their economy, focusing onto their macro game. 2 factories there. We have a nice barracks here for Flash, giving good information in case a drop is happening. The same can be said here about this engineering bay. Really important stuff here by Flash, having as much map control as possible, sniping even 1 dragoon here. Very good stuff by him as the game continues here with massive dragoons. I believe the Protoss is very likely going to try to secure his expansion right here. It would be a very good stuff by him, as we do have a shuttle out here for the Protoss, and a Reaver is actually also getting produced. 2 probes are a little bit on idle here for him, but he takes care once again of that. So it is indeed going to be a shuttle gameplay with a Reaver for the Protoss, but a very late Reaver here. We also see speed getting developed by the Protoss, so with speed the first attack could be quite deadly around this position, or maybe into the main, as this part is not really that well defended here by Flash. But just forget what I said, as he is turned into some Goliaths here. So the Goliaths, of course, the perfect counter towards the shuttle gameplay from the opponent. Let's just see exactly where the shuttle is going to fly over. There it is. Speed, like I told you, is going to be finished pretty much on time. Some zealots might also be needed into this there we go, into this shuttle. I believe the zealot is just following the shuttle now. Finally it's getting picked up. Second zealot also might be picked up very soon, but it looks like the Protoss doesn't really want to lose any time as he's moving here forward. He is very likely going to be intercepted with some Goliaths, so I believe Flash saw that. Good engagement here. Shuttle losing some of its shields, as he's very likely going to try to attack another position. Perhaps the second expansion point here for Flash is going to be targeted by the shuttle. Vultures will react, and some tanks are also here ready to engage the Reaver, but the Zealot will be dropped first, as very hard here for Disco to move forward. So yeah, with that, Flash with a very good defense, good anticipation for him. Disco with a very good macro game, sorry, already having his second expansion up. Very well defended with some Dragoons, having good vision onto the map with those observers, having them nicely placed here onto the map, seeing if there's going to be a move out by the Terran, but it doesn't really look like here. for the Terran, as Flash is playing very defensively here, very nicely calculated, going for his upgrades. I believe weapons 1 has been done here for him. Yeah, there it is. Let's have a look at the Protoss. Still 0-0 for him, as we did pass the 10-minute mark. So yeah, it's still anyone's game. A very interesting game. Now we have a small stalemate, of course. None really will like to do the first step. They will just focus on to getting more of a higher account of the army. Disco already at 70 workers here, Flash at 60. So economic wise, Disco having the advantage, but of course those tanks in the back with the splash damage could deal so much damage towards the gateway units here from Disco. So Disco might get forced towards other units like High Templars. High Templars can be very good to counter all of those clumped up together tanks. An Arbiter would also be a nice option here for the Protoss, like I told you, and late carriers could also be very good here for him, as the Dragoons just take care of some mines. Notice that Flash is not really moving out, he's just staying at home, defending, preparing his macro game. I believe at around the 180 supply, he is very likely going to move out. And he could also just wait for his upgrades. Let's have a look if he's going for a second armory, or if he already has a second armory. There's an academy here, and the only armory which I see is here into this location. So interesting enough, he's also going for a science facility. We might see some science vessel with EMP shockwave, as the Protoss is now deciding to move out a little bit, just testing the waters. But of course the tanks in the back, it would be suicide here for him to engage. He just moved a little bit forward to see what exactly Flash is up to. Those observers are very well located, like I told you, and it looks like indeed the Protoss on a massive expansion strategy here for him. Flash is very likely, or he has to punish this very soon. Either that or the Protoss will just overwhelm him in the late game with massive amounts of production. And yeah, there it is. Massive gateways are being produced here by the Protoss, as he has taken another expansion here, and I believe yet another one will be taken very soon into the right part from the Protoss. Flash now almost at 70 workers, so he's catching up behind, going for the science vessel. Lots and lots of upgrades here for the Protoss. Same can be said here for Flash. The second armory has also started now here, the upgrade. There it is. So double armory is here, of course, very important for those upgrades into the middle game, into the late game. So the tanks with 2 or 3 upgrades, or even 3 upgrades, very deadly on the ground. Most powerful unit indeed for the Terran. And yeah, once again, Disco moving here forward, showing his presence, sniping some vultures. Good pickups here by him, but he needs to be careful against those tanks in the back. And we actually see triple scouts here, so very interesting move here forward by Disco. And he's very likely going to use the splash damage with the High Templars. Once again, another drop has happened here, but the turrets and the Goliaths, I believe, pretty much taking care of that. So Disco with some good engagements here, but also losing some units. Quite interesting stuff by him attacking without that many zealots. I believe mostly of the zealots were into the shuttles, but a very hard, of course, part to engage, as the tanks have nicely been spreaded here by Flash, of course, to evade the High Templar storms. So very smart gameplay here by Flash. Very good thinking from him. And interesting enough, Disco deciding to attack, deciding to show his presence. EMP shockwave might be used here for the opponent. Let's have a look what exactly is he going to be doing here. The tanks, like I told you, nicely spread the mines. We'll get some good engagements. Some zealots do make it here forward, and now it's just Dragoons in the back. I don't really think that Disco should engage here, but a good storm has been casted. However, no SCVs into this location, and yeah, Disco just losing so much of his supply, dealing some damage, but of course the tanks and the Goliaths can be repaired, as now the High Templars, the important units here from the Protoss, are getting sniped. So a little bit of an impatient gameplay here by Disco, as he has lost some units there, but at the same time he's also going for his expansions. And there's a scan from Flash as he sees another expansion point here from the Protoss, but he does have some vultures, so he could punish this early on. But there are some nice cannons located here for the Protoss as well, so very good defense here for the Protoss. However, very impatient gameplay by him, losing some important units. and Zealots of course with high tempers as well, and even now he's engaging forward, so he needs to be perhaps more patient, perhaps just clumping up his units together, and either that or going for a arbiter gameplay could also be a nice move by him, straight dropping the hammer here towards the production tab from the opponent. In the meantime, Flash trying to negate control of the middle of the map. There is a nice high tempo storm once again onto those tanks. Second one also very nicely casted here, as the EMP shockwave also targets lots and lots of units here from the Protoss. So it looks like the Protoss is willing to sacrifice some of his units, given the fact that his economy is in a better shape than that from the opponent. So I believe we're going to be seeing more and more of those sacrifices here from the Protoss, given the fact that he has so many expansions up and running versus the Terran. So he keeps Flash at bay, he keeps him at home, and Flash of course has to defend this important newly established base. So slowly but steadily we turn towards the 20-minute mark. A very interesting game, a nice sacrificial game play here by Disco, sacrificing some of his units of course to keep Flash at bay, and those storms were actually greatly casted. He is taking some good shots towards those vultures, and I believe the middle of the map now is going to try to be in control, but those tanks in the back are nicely guarded by the stones in the front. However, some high tempers will of course nicely be casted here by Flash, as in the end he is very likely going to be taking out lots and lots of those vultures. So interesting game we have here indeed by both players, as actually slowly but steadily Flash is moving more and more forward towards the map. He knows, of course, he did scan all of the areas, so he knows that the economic advantage is very strong here for Disco. Sadly here for Disco he's losing more and more units, and yeah, Flash of course knows that he has to do something against the economic advantage here from the opponent. Good pickups now with those mines, getting some good connections towards all of those Zealots. The Zealots nicely moving here forward, nice defensive matrix, as a very hard push here for the Protoss. He decides to pull back. Of course it would have been suicide. The Terran was on the high ground, and yeah, those mines in the first place gotten some good connections, as yeah, like I told you, Flash is more and more moving here forward with his army, even having some repairing SCVs here. Good upgrades 2-2 for him. Very smart stuff here by him, repairing those SCVs, as I believe he's going to try to attack those expansion in the right part of the map. So he's going to try to somehow split perhaps the army from the Protoss. Let's have a look once again into the main from the Protoss. Still mass amounts of gateway units getting produced, as slowly but steadily Flash is moving more and more forward towards the expansion points from the Protoss. So yeah, let's just see if the Protoss is going to try once again to engage here forward. He has an observer in the front. The Dragoons are engaging, lots and lots of Zealots here for the Protoss, as Flash's army is just pretty much spread all over the map, so he has to come back somehow, as the Protoss once again deciding to attack the newly established base here from Flash. So very good move here by him. Flash is losing some mining time here. He has to uplift his base. He has to pull back the SCVs. Great storms now once again getting casted here by Disco. He's getting some very good connections there, and not really losing so much of his supply with this attack. At the same time, Flash perhaps is going to split his units. He did just plant some mines here. He did take control of the middle of the map. But yeah, Disco just takes expansion after expansion. At the same time, we do have an engagement here, where a drop, and a great high tempo storm has been casted here. Double high tempo storm, inflicting good damage towards the economy here from Flash, as the Dark Temple is still pretty much alive, almost taking out here this turret. So I believe it was a drop that happened here. Flash losing some SCVs, losing some mining time here and here as well. So a very good multitask here from Disco, as he's once again moving here forward with his unit. Great EMP however here as an answer from Flash, and Disco just keeps on moving forward with some great storms. So these storms were pretty much on point onto this game, just catching so many units, so many vultures and tanks, and once again the expansion is not producing here for Flash, as Disco is moving more and more forward, casting more and more storms, catching so many units. Great stuff here by him, as he's now pulling back. Of course he did take some casualties, but like I told you, his economy is very likely going to allow him to do this. Just a couple of vultures there, but now finally we do see a small group of tanks moving forward towards the newly established base from the Protoss, and very soon it is very likely going to be taken out, as the mines will get some connections here. The Zealots are moving forward. A very impatient gameplay, like I told you, he needed some observers there, so the Zealots pretty much getting obliterated there by the mines. And yeah, with that Flash all of a sudden in a good position, splitting the army here from the opponent, also taking out this group of Dragoons with Reavers from him as well. So sadly for Disco, some mistakes are being made here by him. No shuttle here into this location, losing some Dragoons, some Reaver. Also losing this expansion right here. This one very likely either that or this one is going to be the next target for Flash, as he is also taking this position back. So yeah, we did pass the 20-minute mark. The economy is still strong here for the Protoss. He has 10 more workers than the opponent, and he really wants once again to attack the expansion point into this location. Let's see if he's going to be successful as he's moving forward with his Dragoons. Lots and lots of Zealots. Let's just check his upgrades as well. Very good upgrades here for him at the 20-minute mark. 3 weapons, 1 shield, 2 armor. So very good ground upgrades here for him as he's moving forward with the shuttle. The mines will get some good connections, but actually mines have not been casted here by Flash. So very smart gameplay here by him. But those storms here from Disco, quite on point once again, dealing so much splash damage towards those tanks. And all of a sudden now Disco with a very good move here. This could be actually a winning move here by him as he's casting so many storms. So many SCVs have fallen. Still some energy I believe is being left. So Flash all of a sudden dropping to 50 supply. Even with that, Disco could sacrifice those units as he has done major damage towards the economy here from the opponent. So what a great move here by him. What is going to be the response here by Flash? Some tanks are into this area, slowly but steadily taking out another expansion point from the opponent. But this Flash, economic-wise, going to be able to come back into this game. We're about to find out, as now he should be able to snipe some probes here. Vico sadly not reacting here. He could of course pull those drone back, and now those tanks with those upgrades will also be able to deal so much damage towards the economy. Actually Flash deciding to go for the Nexus. In comes the drop. The Zealots are here, the Dark Templars are here as well. The tanks are pretty much engaging now the Nexus. It's very close. 2 tanks are still alive. Even a pylon is getting built here, actually a cannon. So yeah, with that the Protoss holding on, producing more probes here. Very important here for him as the shuttle is actually moving here forward, but yeah, quite a failed drop there as it was hurt. So yeah, very interesting game we have here indeed. Another expansion, but this time Flash is not going to allow this to get finished here, not going to allow this to happen. And yeah, Flash did suffer some major economic damage here. 52 workers only here for him versus the 70 from the Protoss, and the Protoss looks like it's not getting done. This time moving forward only with Zealots and Dragoons. No high tempers this time for him, so this could be a mistake as it's getting of course pushed back. The tanks like a dojo nicely guarded by those rocks, and even defensive matrix have been casted as once again Flash is moving forward. This time with vultures, with mines, luring the enemy towards the mines. Nicely kiting those vultures back and forward. Scanning the area for some Dark Temples. Even some science vessels have joined here the army, and I believe he's going straight for the Nexus. Either that or he's actually going straight for the Nexus. So smart move, denying the mining time here from the Protoss, taking out 2 bases as the Protoss pretty much has to rebuild. And actually a very huge mistake here by the Protoss, not microing those probes well, losing 5 probes. As once again the Protoss tries to attack, but the high ground now pretty much in control here for Flash. Great storms once again getting casted, but defensive matrix is being used. The Dragoons now are nicely located in the front. I believe some vultures are really massively needed here, but it looks like Flash just pretty much ignoring that, just moving forward towards the other expansion point from the opponent. Now finally he's going to be able to perhaps out micro those storms. Finally some storms not really getting some good connections, as the tanks in the backs are of course the real damage dealers. So a good micro here by Flash. The other Nexus is going to very likely get taken out, and a nice split here by Flash. Some tanks now into this location, taking out the other expansion point from the opponent. All of a sudden Flash into a very good position. Disco is dropping to 130 supply. He still has more economic here from the opponent, and now sadly here for him is going to lose some probes that are moving forward. A very bad situation here for him, as he has also dropped to the same number as Flash is. So all of a sudden Flash with some nice multitasking here, being able to come back into this game what was pretty much a advantage here for Disco has turned into a more balanced game, as this point right here, very bad for Disco to attack, as the high ground pretty much in control here for the Terran. So yeah, let's have a look how the game is going to continue. Flash now in a very commanding position, a very nice map control here by him. Is Disco once again going to try to attack here? We even have a science vessel with not that much energy and a dancing vulture there. So EMP would have been great, of course, against all of those Dragoons. I believe actually EMP has been casted here, so the Dragoons not having that much energy left towards their shield, and even not that much energy onto those. The high tempers actually haven't been touched. So yeah, let's just see how the game is going to continue. Perhaps Flash is going to attack the newly established base here by Vico. Actually, he's going forward to this location right here. Lots and lots of vultures, good tanks. Mines have to be cleared first, so Flash with another great move out by him, taking control of the high ground. And once again, Vico is going to lose so many probes here. So yeah, all of a sudden Flash into a commanding lead here. His reinforcements are pouring forward. The Nexus is going to be sniped. The Protoss tries to come back here as Vico is dropped to 35 workers. The same can be said here for Flash. He did suffer some losses here with a drop, but still Flash at 44 workers versus all of a sudden 34 workers only here for Disco. So it's still a close game. EMP shockwaves, and also getting some great connections here for him, as the one Archon is still being left alive here, still being able to deal damage. I believe in the end he will be taken care of. So yeah, Disco is now actually moving forward with his main army towards the upper right part. He knows, of course, that this is a newly established base for Flash, as more and more units are getting killed here. Even SCVs have to be pulled forward for Flash to protect the tanks in the back. Now the Storms will get some good connections, but in the end Disco losing so many units here with this attack. Quite a devastating loss here for him, as Flash just keeps on moving forward towards the newly established base here by the Protoss. There are the Dark Templars here, but we do have science vessels for him, and the tanks, of course, with their upgrades will take some good damage against the economy here from Vico. So Vico cell here, I believe, is going to drop below 20 workers very soon. Finally, the Dark Templars do come forward, but there is vision for Flash. Some tanks will be taken out. Very good stuff here by Vico. Actually, at the same time, he's also attacking here into this location with the Zealots in the front. But defensive metrics actually doing very good here for Flash, and in the end Vico, of course, realizes that he would have lost all of those workers here, and in the end all of his attacks here have been in vain, as Flash nicely reacting here with a high ground control. And in the end, the only mining base from Vico would have been here. This one would have been taken care of, and Flash with all of the remaining expansions here, even this expansion could have been taken, having, of course, in the end taking the victory here. Not convincingly. At one point I was thinking that Vico had the advantage. So very good game here by the Protoss, with great connections with the High Templar Storms, getting really great connections. However, I believe he just sacrificed pretty much too much of his units. I'm going to be checking the unit score. Of course, he did have to sacrifice that, given the fact that his economy was much better. So yeah, there we have 468 produced, and Flash killed 410 of those. So very good stuff here by him. Let's have a look at the resources. I believe the Protoss did mine more resources. Yes, indeed. But in the end, those tanks with those upgrades into the late game are, of course, very deadly, especially when they're guarded by vultures in the front. So tanks with 3 upgrades, quite the strong answer versus the gateway units here from the Protoss. Perhaps carriers would have been nice, an arbiter or two would have also been nice here, but Vico with a very good game here. So yeah, quite a nice game, almost 30-minute game here from the two. I believe it has been played in September 2025. I don't know the exact date, sadly, here. So yeah, I'm going to try to be as active as I can. Still bad graphics here, still no internet onto the main computer. I hope in 1 or 2 months it's going to be finished. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. It's Tommy signing out.